Welcome to TYT Sports. Going to point with all the props that I have. Francis, Jason. The odds of making it to the NFL is an interesting, and really for most sports, the odds of making it to the professional level are low.
Yes,
now,
they are.
Reddit.com/r/NFL.
/TYT Sports information source, according to everyone.
Via, is it Imgur or Imager?
IMGR.
Yeah.
I would just stick to the letters, Jason, so we don't say Imgur again.
Say Imgur.
Let's not.
A graph of what the odds of making it to the NFL are. So let's take a look at that graph of the, or chart, I should say. The odds of making it to the NFL. And I actually have a major problem with this graph, and I'll explain afterwards. High school football players, 1,086,627. High school football seniors, 310,000. When we get to the college levels, I want to say NCAA seniors playing football, bottom left, 15,588. Of those, 6,500 scouted by the NFL. Out of those, 350 invited to the combine, 256 players drafted, 300 rookies making a team, and percent of players NCAA to NFL, 1.6%. So on the bottom it says if you're lucky enough to be one of the 6.5% to become an NCAA athlete, and one of the 1.5 or NCAA football players, and one of the 1.5% of that group to make it to the NFL, you'll be lucky to get 3 years out of it at a minimum salary you won't make enough to live on for the rest of your life. I looked up another graph via Statisti, having rough pronunciation issues today, guys. It is a Tuesday after a long weekend. But the average NFL career graph, this is graphic number 3, I believe. So if we move over to that one, we'll be able to see the important star, double star, halfway through. Average career of an NFL player, 3.3. Average career of running backs, wide receivers, and defensive backs are under 3.0. And of course, out of the quarterback mark, and amazing to me, even kickers and punters.
That is
less than 5-year NFL career on average. And I understand when you're looking at that top 1%, of those 1% that get drafted, yes, players at least one Pro Bowl selection go on to have 12-year careers for the most part. First-round draft picks, 9.3. And I get that. I understand that. But there is one issue I have with the other graph, and that is they're basically insinuating, if you want to be an NFL player, don't follow your dreams because there's such a little chance that you make it. And that is fundamentally wrong, especially in this country where we are brought up to believe, and it is sometimes also fundamentally wrong. I guess 2 wrongs don't make a right, but we're fundamentally brought up to believe you can do anything you want, as I hope you were brought up to believe.
Yeah,
also,
of course.
that if you want to be president of the United States, you can be president of the United States.
And
if you want to be an NFL player, you can be an NFL player.
I can't be the president of the United States, unfortunately.
Right, you can't, but you can still be governor of California.
But I would take the words out of our wise executive producer, Dan Keston, in response to that, and after all that data, just turn around and go, so you're saying there's a chance?
Right. You're saying there's a chance
here. All those statistics, right? So, and I agree with you, Jason, but I also have a counterpoint to say to it. That,
you wanted to be a professional soccer ball player. And what happened? You became a professional soccer ball player.
It ended as quickly as it started. Because
but you still got there.
I know, but I still have regrets, and I still look back and I think I should have been able to do that. And I don't consider myself looking back and being like, I made it. I have no regrets because I don't consider a year or anything.
Scotland national.
No, even if I was in just the level that I was, if I spent a long period of time, I'd consider myself to have made it, and at least I gave it a shot. But there is regrets there, and that's where I don't like this. Is like I wouldn't like to encourage someone. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone should be focusing on an education at the same time, and I think that's the message. Because at the bottom is a little cut off, and it said, "What's going to support you when football is over? Your education." So I think there's 2 parts of that. I don't think that it's telling people not to go and pursue their dreams. I think it's telling them to pursue their dreams, but also focus and finish on school.
And then try to go to the NFL.
And I think that that's a very smart and appropriate thing. I think there was a couple of cases, there has been numerous cases where people have left to go to the NFL and left to go to the NBA, got injured, and suddenly they're fucked because they didn't finish and they didn't get their degree. And the same thing's happened to a couple of people I know.
You say a couple, it's more the majority.
Well, I know, but there's cases, I mean...
You should say there's a couple of players that don't finish, like they go finish school, go a year or 2, and then get drafted, and a couple of those become all-stars.
Yeah, true. So you're
A
saying
couple
there's
of a couple
there's
of
a chance.
a couple of them become Hall of Famers.
But I'm saying, like, yeah, so there's numerous. I'm talking about there's like a couple of examples where people have tried to sue the teams. I remember one person tried to
That's
sue the
terrible.
Lakers because they signed them on these contracts and then they ended up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about suing them because they got injured and suddenly they don't have a college education.
Well, no guaranteed money. That's why
Yeah.
all these NFL players now want, like, out of their $100 million contracts, they want $60 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because at any point, just break
Yeah,
your
it's,
elbow.
you're putting your
Done.
body through that physical harm. You never know. And that is where I do agree with the statement. I don't agree that the statistics there are automatically people will be like, well, that's putting me off. Like, I'm going to be a 1.6% or whatever it is, so I can't go ahead and pursue my dreams. I don't agree with that. I do agree that if you were just to narrow those statistics and say, they'll just acknowledge the lifespan of a career, of someone, an average player in the NFL, you could say that you can make it, but you need to think ahead as well. You need to think about what comes next, because football doesn't last forever. That's why, especially in soccer, you see all these guys striving, even in LA, striving to get a position in amongst the football pundits, because all they know is football. So they need to try and find a job to do that. So I don't agree that people should be brought into college solely to get them as a stepping stone into the NFL. Like, you admit there's high schools out there that are drafted and they're told, come to this college, we'll basically give you your education, but we'll put you into the NFL. I don't agree with that, because I think that it might not always happen.
There's the John Calipari recruiting system, which is like, no, you only got to play for me for 1 year, we'll win a championship, or we'll get really damn close, then you go right to the NBA, which is John Calipari's basically recruitment speech. But the odds of making it to TYT next, by the way, are much higher than 1.6%. We're going to give you much higher. But you can still do the line, so you're saying...
So there is a chance.
Right.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And one of our TYT Next submissions, Chris, also known as the King of Earned Media.
Ooh.
As his he made a chyron. It said it on the bottom. King of Earned Media.
If you're making a chyron, then you're obviously
Here's
up to that
here's a snippet of one of Chris's videos that he sent in that does relate to this odds of making it to the NFL. Let's hear what Chris has to say.
I remember my first day, college football, D2. I walked in there, watched the kickoff return. I was like, dude, that's the fastest thing I've ever seen. We had a 350-pound left tackle who could bench press a house, and he couldn't make it in the NFL. He was one of the sickest athletes I'd ever seen. So when you get to the NFL, they're crazy as far as their physical ability, and they're crazy because they've been getting hit in the head a bunch since they were 8 to 10 years old.
It's very true.
I like his submission in regards to that. By the way, he's 350 pounds and he can bench a house. Not Chris, his left tackle friend.
Yeah.
Bench a house.
I hear similar people talking about me in that. Like, my friend is 6'1".
Francis, he could bench a
Barbie
warehouse. Bench a dollhouse. Did you have a dollhouse?
Did I have a dollhouse? Do we want to get into this conversation?
Did
Are
you
you
have a
my
dollhouse?
therapist?
Did you have a dollhouse?
It was okay. It was there, and I just played with it.
What does the dollhouse mean
I
to
just
you?
played. I was more Ken than I was Barbie.
You were definitely more Barbie than you were Ken.
I'm definitely more Ken than you are, Ken.
I am more Ken than you are Barbie. It's getting ridiculous.
Right.
We will wrap this one up. The odds of making the NFL. What's the question?
Does this discourage you, if you are a football player out there, from attempting to make it to the NFL, or does it perhaps make you take more light into how important the education is? Because I'm sure everyone told me your education is important. So
Yeah,
do you believe
that's a
that this
fact.
message has a broader perspective that should be taken notice of, or do you think it's just far too pessimistic in telling you that you can't chase your dreams? Subscribe to TYT Sports. Follow me at Francis_Max or at Jason Rubin91. I was going to say Jason_Rubin. Don't know why.
Now Francis_Barbie92.
Jason_. I wish I was Ken91.